Long ago, the martial world was divided. The forces of justice and evil battled for control, but one group sought only one thing: absolute strength. They were called the demonic cult. The cult's power rested on six great clans: the sword, dark, spring, poison, blade, and sound. To maintain balance, the cult lord was bound by oath to take a wife from each clan. Their children would one day fight for the right to rule. Every 10 years, the demonic academy opened its doors, triggering the Battle of the Heirs, a brutal competition where only the strongest survived. Cheon Yo-woon was the illegitimate son, always dismissed as the weakest. But now, he has become the most dangerous variable in this ancient game. In the dark forest, Yo-woon ran for his life. His body screamed in pain. Desperate, he tripped on a root and tumbled down a steep slope, landing broken on the cold ground. Anger and despair flooded through him. The truth hit hard. He was never in control, just a puppet dancing in their palms. From the shadows, the assassins emerged. Their leader looked down at the fallen prince and mocked him coldly. "You ran far, Prince Cheon, but this is the end. You have no talent. You abandoned the academy, yet you still hold a claim to the throne. That claim makes you a target. You carry peasant blood, but your lineage commands respect. For that, your death will be painless." Rage burned inside Yo-woon. Peasant blood? How dare they dishonor his mother? They would never give him a painless death. If he was going to die, he would go down fighting. The assassin was amused. He mocked Yo-woon for having no training, yet refusing to give up. This would be a fun hunt. He ordered his men to kill him. That Yo-woon swung his dagger wildly, but the assassin easily dodged. The assassin struck Yo-woon's hand, forcing him to drop the blade. They grabbed him by the neck. But in one swift motion, Yo-woon pulled out a hidden knife and stabbed his attacker. Blood splattered as Yo-woon fell to the ground. Even wounded and broken, a grin spread across his face. The satisfaction didn't last. The remaining assassins closed in, surrounding him. One of them, rage burning in his eyes, dashed forward and drove his knee into Yo-woon's chin. Blood sprayed from his mouth. The assassin cursed, furious that the boy was still breathing. He wasn't done yet. He plunged his blade deep into Yo-woon's stomach and twisted, eliciting a choked gasp of agony. Then he ground his boot into the open wound, enjoying every second of the suffering. Inside, Yo-woon thought, killing one was lucky, but I can't trick them again. This is the end. Nearby, another assassin watched the torture with disgust. But Yo-woon had killed their comrade, so he stayed silent. The boy deserved this agonizing end. Suddenly, a brilliant flash of light erupted. In an instant, the radiance obliterated the assassin who was torturing Cheon. The clearing fell into confused silence. Through the fading glow, they saw a young man standing there, dressed in strange, modern clothes and radiating a vibrant blue aura. A sudden, heavy chill crept into their bones. The remaining assassins charged at the stranger simultaneously. The man with the blue aura merely smirked. Another flash of light tore through the darkness, instantly vaporizing two more attackers. The last remaining assassin stood frozen, trembling in shock. He looked at Cheon, who had lost a massive amount of blood and was clearly on the verge of death. The target is already dying, he thought. The mission is complete. Terrified of the stranger's power, the assassin turned and dashed into the woods. But the stranger didn't let him go. With a casual flick of his hand, a final strike of energy pursued the assassin and destroyed him instantly. Through his haze of agony, Yo-woon watched the silhouettes of his tormentors vanish. The stranger stood over him, checking a high-tech wrist device. "Shit, I plan to explain, but since you're at death's door, we have to improvise." He plunged a metallic syringe into Yo-woon's neck. "Hey, ancestor, please succeed. It'll make my future life a lot easier." Dissolving into blue light, the stranger faded away. "This is the latest 7th-generation nanomachine. Good luck." He vanished. Deep within Yo-woon's mind, a mechanical voice resonated. "Sky Corporation user verified. 7th-generation nanomachine initiating activation." Yo-woon woke up gasping for air. He was confused. He should be dead. He remembered the sharp pain of a sword piercing his stomach. But instead of bleeding out, he found his body covered in sweat and sticky black spots that smelled terrible. Suddenly, a strange voice spoke directly inside his head. "Are you awake, master?" Yeo-woon looked around the empty room. Telepathy? The voice corrected him immediately. "I am connected directly to your neural network. I am the 7th generation nanomachine." Yeo-woon had never heard of such technology. He misheard machine as the word for evil god. He trembled in terror, believing the dark deity worshipped by the demonic cult had possessed him. Outside the room, the situation was tense. Gar Jang was leading Dr. Beck to the prince's quarters. Jang could hardly believe Yeo-woon was still breathing. There had been a brutal assassination attempt the night before. Jang recalled the gruesome scene. Headless corpses of assassins scattered on the ground, a dagger buried in a man's skull. Amidst the blood, Yeo-woon had been found sleeping soundly. His clothes were torn to shreds by swords, but his skin didn't have a single scratch. It was a miracle. Back inside, Yeo-woon asked the mysterious voice if it had saved his life. The entity explained that it had put his dying body into self-healing mode. It then offered to transfer its user manual directly into his brain. Yeo-woon agreed. Instantly, a shock wave of pain hit him. He doubled over and vomited on the floor. The voice explained this was a natural reaction to loading data into the brain. Then came the shocking truth. Over 6 billion tiny machines were now embedded inside Yeo-woon's body. They could not be removed unless he died. Yeo-woon realized his half-brothers had failed to kill him. But now he was stuck with this unknown power and a knock sounded at the door. "Dr. Beck." Yeo-woon panicked, not wanting to look crazy by talking to himself. He ordered the machine to be quiet. It confirmed it would enter silent mode. The doctor entered and immediately noticed the foul odor. He grabbed Yeo-woon's wrist to check his pulse. His eyes went wide with shock. "This isn't a sickness," the doctor said. "It's a rare opportunity." He explained that Yeo-woon's body had been completely cleansed. The sticky black spots were actually waste and toxins forced out of his system. His energy flow had been fully activated. The doctor declared that Yeo-woon now possessed the perfect body for martial arts training. Yeo-woon realized the truth. The machine hadn't just healed him, it had optimized him. He mentally commanded the machine to speak again. It confirmed that it had extracted all impurities and reshaped his muscles, joints, and blood vessels to perfection. Yeo-woon asked one last time, "Are you sure you're not an evil god?" The voice replied calmly, "I'm not an evil god. I am a machine master." When Dr. Beck examined the prince, he was completely baffled. He found nothing wrong and simply prescribed an energy tonic that, as the doctor left, he thought about how incredibly strange this was. He remembered the prince as a weak boy with no martial arts skills, someone doomed to be pushed out of the ranks. But now, the prince's body was in perfect condition. Beck realized the boy could probably learn martial arts better than any of the other royal heirs. He wrongly assumed the lord had been secretly protecting him. Inside the room, Yeo-woon was just glad the doctor hadn't discovered his secret. He thanked Gar Jang for saving his life earlier. Jang awkwardly pinched his nose and pointed out that the prince smelled terrible and really needed to wash up first. Yeo-woon wholeheartedly agreed. In the bath, Yeo-woon asked Nano about its self-healing mode. Nano explained that it could quickly heal any internal or external wound caused by impact. However, major injuries like heavy blood loss or a severed limb required much longer because they involved complex cell division. The heavy scientific explanation completely confused the prince. He decided it was better to simply test the power himself. He grabbed a sharp knife and sliced his own hand, instantly feeling the sharp pain. Nano immediately activated self-healing mode. The bleeding stopped, and the cut closed up before his very eyes. The prince was amazed. All of Nano's crazy functions actually worked. That he also noticed something else. His previously weak, skinny body was now packed with lean, toned muscles. Nano revealed it had completely reconstructed his physical form to make him stronger. Fresh out of the bath, the prince went straight to his study. He wanted to get stronger immediately, but he only had one basic book about blood points and chi. Nano instructed him to simply flip through the pages. The prince rapidly flipped through the book, and Nano scanned the entire thing in seconds. Nano then offered to transfer the information directly into the prince's brain. Yeo-woon accepted. A massive shock of electricity hit his head, causing him serious pain. But when the pain faded, he realized he had completely memorized the book. Even better, Nano had used its advanced programming to correct all the errors in the old text. The prince realized he could now understand and master martial arts faster than anyone else in the world. Even though the other clan heirs had trained since birth, he now had the ultimate cheat code. Standing tall, he declared his new goal. He would use this power to become the absolute strongest fighter in the demonic academy. Meanwhile, across the compound, Prince Mukium was throwing a massive fit. He was the one who had sent 5 assassins to eliminate Yeo-woon. Now, he had just discovered that all 5 of his trained men were dead. Mukium refused to believe the weak, low-blood prince had survived on his own. He suspected someone powerful, maybe even the Lord himself, was secretly protecting Yeo-woon. Furious and out of options, Mukium clenched his fist with an evil grin. If his assassins couldn't do the job, he vowed to kill Yeo-woon himself at the demonic academy. It was the morning of the most dangerous day of his life. Prince Cheon Yeo-woon was wide awake. He hadn't slept at all, nervous about finally entering the demonic academy. But he was hiding a huge weakness. He had absolutely no martial arts skills. When his mother passed away, he had sworn an oath to never learn how to fight until he joined the academy. He had to play weak so the powerful 6 clans wouldn't target him. Now, with danger staring him in the face, he wished he had secretly learned Gar Jang's dagger techniques. Suddenly, he remembered his secret weapon. He asked Nano if it could scan the movements of other people. Nano confirmed that it absolutely could. Then came the million-dollar question. Could Nano scan Gar Jang's martial arts training and download it straight into his brain? Nano said yes. Its database contained many techniques ready for transfer. Yeo-woon hesitated for a second. Stealing moves without permission felt wrong, but survival was more important. He immediately ordered Nano to start the scan. It took about half an hour for Nano to analyze the guard's movements and beam the data into Yeo-woon's brain. When the transfer finished, Yeo-woon tested it. The results were unbelievable. Without any hard work, he perfectly copied Gar Jang's dagger skill. He instantly bypassed the years of daily training and posture corrections that a normal person would need, but the thrill of the ultimate shortcut didn't last. Without warning, his entire body screamed in terrible pain, and he dropped to the floor. Nano quickly translated the medical problem into terms the prince could understand. While his brain knew the techniques perfectly, his physical muscles were far too weak. If he tried to fight like a master without the right body, he would rip his own muscles apart. To fix this, Nano had to perform a full muscle transfer to make his body match his brain. Nano warned that the process would take a couple of hours and cause insane pain. In fact, over 1 million people had fainted from the agony. Yeo-woon tried to be tough and started it without anesthesia. The pain broke him immediately. Nano quickly put him to sleep. While the prince was unconscious, Gar Jang was busy preparing a simple meal for him. Jang felt heavy with grief. It had been exactly 5 years since Lady Hua, the prince's mother, was murdered with poisoned food. Jang prayed to her spirit, begging her to protect the young prince at the academy. Suddenly, Jang heard a strange cry from the prince's room and rushed inside. He found Cheon asleep with a perfectly normal pulse, but then Jang looked at the floor and froze in total shock. He saw fresh footstep marks left behind from Cheon's movements. Jang's mind was completely blown. He realized the prince had somehow mastered 20 years of dagger training, just by watching him practice for 2 years. Cheon wakes up with a massive gasp. The intense pain is finally over. His AI, the nanomachine, just finished upgrading his body by transferring muscle and fiber. Now, he instantly has the muscle memory of a master who trained for 20 years. He jumps up to test his new strength. He grabs a dagger and swings. The blade cuts right through the air. His moves are sharper and way more powerful than before. He swings again, but he is too strong. He accidentally slices the floor and shatters a wooden basin. Cheon panics. He used pure physical strength, known as Wai-gong, without even using his internal energy, called Ni-gong. If his loyal protector, Gar Jang, sees this mess, he is going to be in huge trouble. Just then, Garjang walks in with breakfast. It is a huge plate of stir-fried bok choy, roast pork, and rice with a fried egg. These are all of Cheon's absolute favorite foods. Today is the day he gets admitted to the dangerous demonic academy. Cheon gets super emotional, realizing this might be the very last breakfast Garjang ever makes for him. Nano interrupts his touching moment to warn him about stomach acid, so Cheon temporarily mutes the AI and stuffs his face. After eating, the worst happens. Garjang spots the giant slash mark on the floor. He instantly recognizes the technique. In the martial arts world, stealing another person's technique is a massive taboo. He expects Garjang to be furious. Instead, Garjang smiles and tells Cheon he did good. Since Garjang is sworn to protect him, he doesn't care how Cheon learned it. He even hands Cheon a secret manual. This book contains the internal energy flow for the dagger technique. Garjang tells him to learn it and get stronger at the academy. Cheon wipes his eyes and promises he will never cry again. He is ready to face his destiny. Cheon finally arrives at the massive gates of the demonic academy. Over 1,000 young fighters are gathered in the courtyard. Suddenly, a terrifying man appears. It is the Left Guardian, the Fire King Li Wamyang. He is one of the top 5 strongest fighters in the entire demonic cult. Li Wamyang glares at the kids in the front row. These are the dangerous heirs of the 6 great clans. There is Cheon Mu-yun from the Dark Clan, Cheon Kyung-woon from the Sword Clan, and Cheon Mu-kyum from the Spring Clan. Next to them are Cheon Jong-sum of the Poison Clan and Cheon Yu-chan of the Blade Clan. Finally, there is Cheon Won-ryu from the Sound Clan, the only female candidate. But the Left Guardian frowns. He looks around the crowd and demands to know where the 7th heir is.